And as you said, Ashley, this thing is so wide. It's what, from Detroit to Texas wide?
I mean, even bigger than that now. Yeah, putting the measuring tool on it, which we will in just a second. But you mentioned Sandy as well. I actually was in Atlantic City during Sandy, and I mean, the weather was absolutely miserable. And so, you know, we focus so much on the eye of the storm, which is incredibly important as that travels up towards Maine and Canada. But those outer bands can just create such miserable conditions and devastating conditions for multiple states.
And that one's moving so slow too, right?
Oh,
like you said?
Yeah. I mean, it has picked up a little bit, but still very slow moving storm. And so when it's that massive, I mean, it's going to bring rain and surge and all of that to a good portion of the East Coast. But let's bring it back closer to home, and then we'll get into more details of Hurricane Lee as we're getting some more data in this morning. But here today, a little bit better than yesterday, but still below average. So we'll say seasonally cool. It certainly is a cool start, but we struggle to get to 70 with 75 our average high. By the time we hit Saturday, we are closer to average, well into the 70s. We'll take maybe a little dip Sunday because of rain showers in the forecast. But if 80 degrees is more your type of weather, we might be close to that come next week. So stick around for this long range forecast I have coming up in a second. Frost advisories, though, for other portions of the state. Isn't that Michigan for you? We're talking about frost this morning, and then we're talking about 80 degrees within the next 7 days. But from Mount Pleasant, really, northward, is where we have some 30-degree temperatures, and that has resulted in frost advisories that should lift in just over an hour. That also stretches north of Mackinac into the Upper Peninsula. So as we put our temperature map on, Ludington down to 37. Criteria for frost advisories usually around 36 degrees, and so you see the darker shades of blue north of Big Rapids, so well into the 30s there. Here, though, we have more of that urban heat island effect happening in the Detroit area and even off towards Troy, 50 degrees here on the far east side. The rest of the folks across lower Michigan in the 40s. So a live look downtown Detroit at Huntington Place, where we've been talking about the auto show. 50 degrees in Detroit, 42 in Ann Arbor, 46 in Port Huron, and 45 in Adrian. Light variable winds, if not just calm conditions across a good portion of our region. Bus stop forecast. A lot of folks will be going to the bus stop, and it'll be in the 40s, so it's chilly. But depending on where you're at, you could contend with some patchy fog. And so if you are north towards Lapeer, west towards Washtenaw County, that's where we have some of that fog formation. Otherwise, the sun's going to burn it all off, and we will have plenty of sunshine today as high pressure builds in. 68 come drop-off time, so still feeling like fall out there. But those clouds have thinned out. A couple of those clouds up by Traverse City. Otherwise, southeastern Michigan clear. Now I'm putting our water vapor imagery on so you can really see how Hurricane Lee is churning off in the Atlantic. And it is just massive. Those outer bands draping over 1,000 miles. I mean, that latest measuring tool has us more so close to about 1,400 miles. So if you were to travel from Detroit to Dallas, Texas, that is going to be a shorter distance than what the length of this hurricane is. Right now, a Cat 2 could probably make landfall in Maine as a tropical storm as we get closer to the weekend. Otherwise, here closer to home today, 70 degrees for that afternoon high. And then come tonight, 50 degrees for that overnight low. Pretty dry stretch heading into the first part of the weekend, but Sunday, a chance for some scattered showers creeping back into the area. We take a little dip Monday, but then we climb out of it. And by Wednesday of next week, mostly sunny and awfully close to 80. And that long range forecast promising for above average temperatures.